What's happening, everybody? Earl Campbell here from Eastern Shore Undercover, and welcome to another episode of the Eastern Shore Undercover Podcast. It's been a long time since we've done one of these. December 17th, 2024 was the last time we did one. We had a couple little clips here and there, but this is the first one we've actually sat down and broke down some information, and we're going to have a lot to go over today. So let's just jump right in. We're going to start off by talking about the Wicomico County Council and basically the drama that comes along with it. I stopped going to these council meetings in 2024, and I had planned on going to not this last past one, but the one before that. And I wanted to expose some stuff that was happening, and I'm going to get into a little bit more of that in the details. But I feel like it's a sham. You go to these, they make you think that when you're going to these council meetings that, there's public input and there's a public work session, and people get up there and they ramble on about, things that, they want to see happen in the county, and the county leaders just totally ignore it. It's like a waste of time. Total crock of BS. I don't even know why they have these things, because truth be told, nothing that we say as citizens make any difference. And I've come to that realization that it's because of the leadership that we have in office right now. And unfortunately, I don't know that that's going to change. I was kind of hopeful that we would see some change in 2025. We all know what happened in 2024 between the county council and the county executive. It was a constant butt of heads. County council just, for whatever reason, they don't want to work with the county executive. And they tried to get rid of her with the question A vote. That didn't work. They, multiple court cases. None of it worked. And I was very hopeful that in 2025, we would put all that behind us. Let's start moving forward for the benefit of the citizens of Wicomico County. But if you watched this last week's council meeting, we're no further along today than we were, 6 months ago. It's very unfortunate. Again, I was hopeful that once we got done this question A ballot, the voting, that we would move forward and we would start putting priorities in line of what needs to be done. I want to address the fact that if you go back and watch the budget, I think it was the budget hearing, or there was a council meeting where they were going over different avenues, talking about and I don't know the exact council meeting that it was. I probably should have looked that up. It just came to mind. But County Executive Julie Giordano was sitting at the table, and I think she had Pamela in with her. And she had said, "Look, I'm not going to do this again. We went through this in 2024. I'm not going through this in 2025." She's trying to make an effort to put things forward and to put that past behind us, to get things going forward. Unfortunately, it's just not happening. So let's start off by talking about Tuesday's council meeting. There was a lot of stuff that was talked about. There's some new districting that happened. I'm not really too familiar with this whole incident or this case, and I just want to be upfront. And it's not fair for me to make an opinion or try to explain this. What I know is there used to be 5 districts and 2 at-large votes, both for school district and for council. The new way of doing things will be 7 districts. So there will be no more at-large seats in the county council. So that was talked about. And then, of course, you have your public comment and you have your council comments. There were some other things that were going on, but we're gonna break down some of the stuff that was talked about in that council meeting. So before we do that, I want to talk about a press release that was released last night. Many of you saw I posted it on our page, on our Facebook page, and all of our social media pages last night. And that came from the Wicomico County Council. So I wanted to address those things first, kind of work backwards. And we're going to break that down bit by bit. In addition to the press release that's posted already on our page, I'm also going to post the link to the Wicomico County Council meeting from Tuesday night. I'm going to post that down in the comments below with timestamps for everyone so that you can follow along and you're not just saying, hey, this was just Earl saying this. You can actually look for yourself. I want you guys to be able to look and say, hey, he's right about what he said. So the first thing I want to address in the press release is the fact that the statement said, despite the case's resolution, public discourse, largely driven by a local blogger, that's probably me, has prompted questions regarding council member Baker's position on the council. Now, again, I think we all know that was a cheap shot at the local blogger. But regardless of my opinion, I can't take credit for this one. I'm a firm believer that much of the public discourse comes from Mr. Baker's past and his poor decision-making that he's recently made, as well as some other things that are out there circulating, such as why he's no longer a Worcester County deputy. You know, inquiring minds want to know. Why isn't he a Worcester County deputy? Do you know? Last night, at the 2 minute and 26 second, 2 hour, 26 second mark, 2 hour, 26 minutes and 30 second mark of the video, Shane Baker stated he's a 25-year veteran, stated he's retired, stated he's no longer a deputy. But why? And is he retired? Or did he resign under investigation? Because there's a major difference. If you retire, you walk in, you sign all your paperwork, you figure out your health insurance for the future, you figure out, if you have any time accrued, what you're going to do at that time. Basically, you're telling them, I'm going to leave on this date, I'm retired. If you resign, you just resign. You just say, I'm done. And if you resign under investigation, well, that's a totally different ball of wax, because that's like a red stamp on your MPCTC card. Most people that resign under investigation don't ever get police jobs again, but that's neither here nor there. So there's a difference. And what is the real outcome? Mr. Baker said that he's all about transparency. Well, what was the reason? I haven't heard. I've heard rumor. We don't work on rumors here. We work on facts. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get them facts yet. I'm hoping. And when I get them, I promise you, I'm going to put it out there for everybody. I'm going to let everybody know what happened. Just for the record, I did reach out this morning to the Worcester County Sheriff's Office, and I requested a statement about his departure. And very professionally, the Sheriff's Office said, look, we can't release any information right now. Actually, if you give me a second here. Again, very professional. Sheriff Chris Foley reached out and said, basically we cannot release personal information about current or former employees and the reasons for their departure for the agency. The second question I had was, about whether the investigation is complete. And he just said, it is inappropriate for me to make a statement regarding any of our active administrative investigations. So that tells me it's still active. They're still investigating it. But I don't want to jump to conclusions and say, well, it's over. Here it is. He did this. He did that. We'll wait. We'll let time take its course. And when it's over and when it's the right time, we'll make sure we come back to you with an update on that. So another concern that I had that come out of the council meeting, and not really as part of the press release, I'm going to be jumping around here just so you guys know there's a lot to go over between the press release, the council meeting, the court hearings, some legal proceedings that may come out of this. My question is, at the 2 hour and 26 minute mark, 39 seconds, he said that he's still living with his ex-wife, which is in Willards, Maryland, while his home is being built. Now, for those who don't know, him and his wife just went through a divorce. And if that's the case, and if the information that I have is correct, he's not going to be living too far from me here in Delmar. So my next question is, if he knows he's having a house built, which is out of his district, and he knows that he's going to be moving here in the next coming weeks, does anyone think it's okay for him to still be continuing to be a council member on the council and making decisions for people in his district, knowing that he's leaving and not going to be a part of it? I think the right thing to do would be start making plans, start making, steps towards that direction for replacement, so that when the time comes, he can't serve if he's not in his district. We have a replacement. Am I wrong? Does anybody disagree with me about that? So I want to jump over to some of the other things that he said at the council meeting. And one of them was the court hearing that was just heard about the peace orders. And I got to tell you, I had a different experience than everybody else. Being at court last Friday was an experience. For those of you that don't know, I spent several years as a bailiff in the district court. So I got to see peace orders every day. And this one was interesting. It was a lot of testimony. It was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of circumstantial evidence or testimony. But before I start that, I want to put something out there just to clarify some things. There's some rumors out there that me and Keith Newton are friends. We've been friends. And I want to preface this by saying that Friday was the first time that I've ever met Keith Newton in my life. Never met Keith Newton, never met his wife. I have messaged them on social media. I've messaged them on the phone. I've talked to him on the phone. But that was the first time in my life that I've ever come face to face with Keith Newton and his wife. Never met him a day in my life. So for anybody to say that, oh, they're friends, he testified because he's a friend, well, you obviously don't know me and you don't know Keith Newton. For the record, the first time I ever came to know who Keith Newton was from Shane Baker. It was back around the Jeep event, and Shane Baker reached out to me, and you guys can go back and look at this. This is, 100% legit. Shane Baker was trying to convince me into supporting someone to run for sheriff. At the time, I guess, Newton and Baker were friends, and Shane Baker was very upset with me because I was supporting the county executive, Julie Giordano. There's videos out there. There's podcasts about this. There are YouTube videos. There are Facebook videos. They're out there. You guys just got to go back and watch them. April and May 2024. But again, I had never met him a day in my life. Knew he was a sheriff's deputy. I knew some stuff about him. Again, I talked to him on the phone. I messaged him on social media. But never been to dinner with him. Never. First time I met his wife, very nice lady. But again, the reason that I was asked to go to court and the reason I was asked to go to testify was because of my experiences with, Shane Baker and his continued emails, text messages, social media messages. So let me start by saying this. If you've ever messaged Shane Baker, I don't care what it's for, you realize it's not just a one and done. Send a message, get a response, and you're done. Nope, never happens. I went back and looked at the last 10 conversations that I had with him, and I document them, and I had them all printed out and was going to take them to court. And that's what I was going to testify for in court. I took the last 10 conversations that I had with him, and I'm going to run these responses down to you. Conversation 1, I had 12 responses. Conversation 2, I had 10 responses. Conversation 3, I had 8 responses. Conversation 4, 24 responses. 5, 47 responses. 6, 9 responses. Conversation 7, 36 responses. Conversation 8, 41 responses. Conversation 9, 12 responses. Conversation 10, 18 responses. So as you can see, when you email Shane Baker, it's not just a one email. You'll get 18, 20, however many response, because he has to have the last word. And it's absolutely insanity, the amount of emails this man will send. But regardless, Shane mentioned in the video at the 2-hour, 32-minute mark, he claimed that the judge didn't allow me to testify. And, well, that's just not really 100% legit and true. So I wanted to explain what happened. So Mr. Newton was going to put me up there and, ask me the questions about the continued emails and text messages and social media messages. And this goes, like I said, this goes back to, I want to say April of 2024, right when the safari in the quarry took place. And the judge said, look, this doesn't have anything to do with what we're here for today. And that was the threats coming from text messages from Shane Baker to Keith Newton. And just for the record, I talked to Keith Newton today, and we are going to do a podcast, me and him, so that he can get everything out there and get everything on the record, fill in some connect the dots, I guess you'd say. I heard somebody say that the other day. We're going to connect the dots here. So I'm going to give Keith Newton a chance to connect those dots and to show you text messages and to show you the citizens of Wicomico County what exactly took place. Just because a judge doesn't grant a peace order doesn't mean that things didn't happen. And I want to make them public. I want to make the citizens aware of exactly what happened. So we're going to do that. We're planning on doing it on Sunday. Keep in mind, Deputy Newton is a very busy man. He's a proud father. He's got some kids in sports. So we're hoping we'll take care of that this Sunday. But if not, you just got to be a little bit flexible with us. It'll be out maybe Monday or Tuesday after I get it all edited. So back to the testimony. I went into the witness stand in the District Court of Maryland, and it was Judge Axel. Super nice guy. I've known Judge Axel for several years. I was actually a bailiff in his courtroom when he would visit Wicomico County. And Judge Axel said, there's nothing really that is going to make nothing out of the responses that you would give are going to, reflect or play a part in my decision. So there's really no reason for you to testify. I started to get up and walk out of the witness box. And then, Mr. Baker's attorney, Mr. Andrew McDonald, he said, Your Honor, I have a couple questions. And the judge said, well, he's not your witness. And I agreed to talk. I'm like, I have nothing to hide. If he has something to ask me, I'm here. Let's get it out. So I sat back down and identified myself. And I'll give you a big, everybody take a guess of what the first question was that, Shane Baker's attorney asked me. Take a guess. Anybody? Anybody? He asked me if it was true, if I was a contributor to Julie Giordano and made a campaign donation to the county executive. Which at that point, I thought the judge was going to come out of his chair and lose his mind. I wanted to answer it. The judge said, you don't need to answer it. I wanted to get this out there in public because I'm so sick of hearing it. Again, the judge said, we're not going to go through this. And that was the end of my testimony. So there were a couple other things that he mentioned. He brought up the fact that, Wicomico County Deputy Ben Parsons was there, and Pittsville Police Chief Bob Harris was there. And he kept reflecting back to Chief Harris, and he said he was appalled that Chief Harris appeared in uniform. So I know this for certain because I was sitting right next to the Chief Harris, and I know he was eager to get back to work because they had made an arrest the night before, and he had some paperwork they had to do, but he was working. He was actually on the clock when he was at court. He was there in uniform because he was working. You can't expect a man to go home and change just to benefit Shane Baker. That's just outrageously. That's appalling to think that. So I just want to put that out there for Chief Harris. Just insanity. So last thing I want to mention about the press release is the line where it says, due to his efforts to hold certain individuals accountable in his role as a public servant. So maybe I missed something here, but I've read through the job description of a county council member, and nowhere in there does it say that they hold people accountable. Maybe I'm missing something, and if I am, please forward it over to me, but I can't find it anywhere where it says that council members are to hold people accountable for their actions. It doesn't even make sense. Well, who are they holding accountable? A citizen? County executive? A local business owner? I mean, I'm asking. I don't know. So let's move on. So I want to take a step back a little bit. Many of you recall that a couple weeks ago I said I was going to do a podcast, and then I backed out of it because I didn't want to, get people's feelings hurt with kids, and there were some people involved that that I'm friends with that I didn't want to get involved, and I decided to back off. But I decided to go about it a different route, and I sent the Wicomico County Council email, and in that email I expressed my displeasure with how 2024 went again, and hoped that in 2025 we would see some more progress being made when it comes to the council and the decisions that they make and those that they align themselves with. And again, turn into multiple conversations from Shane Baker. I sent that to everybody. I sent it to all the council members. I sent it to County Executive Julie Giordano. I even sent that to the state's attorney, Jamie Dykes. And some stuff took place, and then, at the recommendation of the state police, I went for a peace order, and that didn't happen. So I came home and I sent another email to the council, and I respectfully requested, I gave them about a week's notice. It was like 5 days. And I respectfully requested some additional time. That's all I was asking for. I wasn't asking for, anything crazy out of the ordinary. I figured, it's public comment. Instead, I can't get out everything I want to say in 3 minutes. So we all know, God forbid you go over and you're on the other side of the council. Well, you have no chance of extending that time term. So I wanted to do it the right way. I promised my wife and my kids this year that we were going to be more, we were going to be more for the community, and we were going to do the right thing. We weren't going to let our emotions get the best of us. Well, I sent that email to the council, and it resulted in a phone call from President Cannon. It was a very cordial phone call, good conversation. In that phone call, I was told that I was not allowed to call Mr. Baker out by name. I was told that I wasn't allowed to mention him by name. And basically was told that if I do, I'll be removed from the council meeting and could risk being arrested. Mr. Cannon didn't want to see that happen. So again, it was a very good conversation. It wasn't any kind of, me yelling at him yelling at me. It was none of that. It was all cordial. And he informed me that they were going to be sending me a legal document from the county attorney that would lay out what I could and couldn't do, which I thought was pretty hubris. And I'm going to put that document up here for you guys. I'm going to let you read it. And if you bear with me here, I got to pull it up on my screen as well. There's a lot of stuff in here that I'm going to share with you guys. Some of it is redacted, and I've removed it from the legal letter. And the only reason that that's done is because I made a promise to the state's attorney that I wouldn't bring up the court case that's coming up with the threats against my family. And I want to, work with them as the best I can. So I don't want to do anything that could compromise their investigation and their case. So on page 1 here, if you look, third paragraph down, I've highlighted for you. It says, in addition, derogatory remarks, personal attacks, obscene language, and disruptive behavior is not permitted as part of the public comment portion of the meeting. The president of the council, as presiding officer, has the responsibility to manage the meeting, specifically the public comment period. So keep that in mind. Derogatory remarks, personal attacks. So let's go over to page 2. And like I said, I've removed some parts in here that don't need to be in here. But if you scroll down to the bottom, second paragraph from the bottom, it says, may not include derogatory comments or personal attacks. To include personal attacks, and took out the name of the person. While citizens have the right to express their opinions, including criticism of public officials, this right is not absolute. It cannot be used to justify personal attacks that disrupt the meeting. Okay. So let's continue on. The last page, it ends with, there was an extra paragraph down here that I removed, just being transparent with everybody. With that in mind, the public cannot express personal attacks at council members or other members of the public during public comments at council meetings. While citizens have the right to criticize public officials, this must be done within reasonable boundaries and without resorting to personal attacks that disrupt the meeting. Interesting. So I want to focus your attention back again on the council meeting just from Tuesday night. Now, you can probably go to any council meeting you want to and look at anybody that's against Julie Giordano, and you'll see that statement is total bullshit. Regardless, I'm going to just refer back to this Tuesday's council meeting, and we're going to go to the 1 hour and 59-minute mark of the public comment, and Mr. Mike Goldberg gets up there and speaks. He accused Julie Giordano, an elected official, of weaponizing law enforcement. He called her out by name and literally said that. I want you to go look at that timestamp, 1 hour and 59-minute mark. Goldberg claimed county executive was involved in what he called an egregious incident where she was part of the peace order. Now, unless I'm missing something here, how is Julie Giordano even mentioned in this? Forget the fact about she had nothing to do with this incident at all. What made him bring it up, and what made it okay for him to call her out? But I'm not allowed to call out Shane Baker. And I'm not allowed to question the county council about one of their fellow members without threats of being removed from the council and potentially being arrested. So if Goldberg can bring up Julie Giordano multiple times, not just this last I'm just using this as a reference, then what is different, and what is with the letter that was sent to me from this council? I'm going to continue on because there's some other stuff in here that's blatantly incorrect, and I'm going to address each of them. Goldberg then said that interim peace orders are almost always granted. Now, I can tell you without any doubt, it used to be like that years ago. It's not like that anymore. Excuse me. As many of you recall, I applied for a peace order several weeks ago, around the first of the year, at the request of the Maryland State Police. that peace order was denied because of a time issue. So don't say that they're automatically given out. I think he referred to it as a ham sandwich. No, not the issue. Not at all. They are not given out. Granted, the interim is the easiest because of the little bit of information that you have to give, but they're not automatic. Continuing on, he then went in to talk about the word lawfare. Now, let me give you the definition of lawfare. Lawfare is the use of legal systems and institutions to damage or delegitimize an opponent or to deter an individual's usage of their legal rights. The term may refer to the use of legal systems and principles against an enemy, such as by damaging or delegitimizing them, wasting their time and money, and winning the public relations victory. Is that not what happened the entire 2024 year to County Executive Julie Giordano? Is that not what happened to me and Eastern Shore Undercover every single chance they get? They held a council meeting about me and the county executive, signing an MOU. And you know what Mike Goldberg did? He sat in the front row and did this. Literally. I have, you want to see the video, you can go look it up. But again, is that not what happened to the county executive throughout 2024? And now we're seeing it again in 2025. We're starting out the year just like we ended last year. It's amazing. But I was curious. So yesterday, I reached out to the county executive and I asked her bluntly, did you have anything to do with Mr. and Mrs. Newton filing a peace order? I also reached out to Mr. Newton and asked him, did Julie Giordano have anything to do with you filing a peace order? Julie stated, and I'm going to quote this for you guys, I want to be unequivocally clear. I had no involvement whatsoever in the recent peace order filing by a Worcester County deputy regarding a member of the Wicomico County Council. Any suggestion otherwise is completely false. Anyone at the previous council meeting claiming that I had any connection to this matter is completely wrong. Such accusations are not only baseless, but also a distraction from the work we are doing for the residents of Wicomico County. Since assuming office, I have made it a priority to maintain the highest level of professionalism and integrity, deliberately distancing myself from any conduct that could be perceived as political targeting or inappropriate interference. My focus remains on serving our community and addressing the issues that matter most to our residents. As I said, I also reached out to Mr. Newton, and I asked him the same question. Did Miss Julie Giordano reach out to you about this peace order? And he told me he did not talk to her at all. So, more lies dispelled. After Goldberg got done, Joe Venosa gets up there. And again, same thing, same rhetoric. He claimed that both the county government officials and public citizens are being threatened in a common denominator. Excuse me, I'm sorry. My dog is a little aggressive when somebody comes to the door. I apologize. He stated that, that they're being threatened. And in the common denominator, you guessed it, threw it back on Julie Giordano again. Again, another person allowed to throw hatchets at county executive, but I get threatened with a letter just for asking to come and talk about Mr. Baker. So I'm not going to talk much about him. He even tried to take a little shot at me about the media. I just have nothing good to say about that guy. So he isn't worth my time, and I'm not going to ramble about him. So let me ask you this, and this is an honest question that I want everybody to think about. I was told that I wasn't allowed to mention Shane Baker's name during a council meeting, because I couldn't single out an elected official or a council member or anyone in public, per Mr. Cannon, via our phone call. And then I was sent a legal letter that I've showed you guys from county attorney Bob Benson. I was told by Mr. Cannon that if I did, I'd be removed and, could face legal consequences. And I'm going to put these letters up here. And of course, like I said, I redacted some of them, let you guys read them. You can pause it if it's too quick for you. But regardless, as you can see, it clearly says, and I've got it all highlighted for you. It's not anything I'm trying to hide, that I can't do it, but other people are allowed to do it week in and week out. At what point does this become a legal issue for me? Another thing I want to bring up is the fact that, Baker cried like a little baby about the county executive not being at these county council meetings. So I want to address that real quickly here. And this is no different than Salisbury City, what's happening over there. If you watch when county executive first took office, she was going to these council meetings and she would get up there and she would just be berated from the public, council members. She would be belittled. And what eventually ended up happening is when she would want to talk, she was given 3 minutes to talk at public comment, which was just, I've talked about this many times. It's disgraceful. And I'll never, ever understand why they think that is okay. She is the highest level of leadership in our county, and yet she gets 3 minutes to talk. It doesn't even make sense. Doesn't even begin to make sense. No different than Salisbury with the mayor. All that is people flexing their muscles. And I praise county executive for not attending these. I wouldn't attend them either. No chance in this world I would ever attend those meetings, knowing that all they're going to do is, give me 3 minutes to talk and let everybody else just get up here and just completely bash me. She can be bashed, but no one else can. Oh, God, no. If you're on the side of the council and you're going to go take a shot against Julie Giordano, they'll let you do whatever you want. You can talk for as long as you want. You can call her anything you want. But if you're on her side and you want to, oh, God, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. So I don't know, what the county executive, her options are, but I will tell you that mine are starting to get a little bit annoyed. I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed with it. So I'm going to tell you what I've been annoyed with, and it came from this court case where Shane Baker and his attorney, again, want to bring up my campaign contributions. So I'm just going to go over some numbers with you guys, and you tell me how you'd feel. We're going to talk about campaign donation, or what, Mr. Holloway referred to, as basically a bribery. It's been mentioned and alleged in 8 different council meetings by 3 different council members and a local sheriff that I bribed the county executive. It's been alleged that in 9 different council meetings by 3 different public citizens that I could find, that I bribed the county executive. And that was allowed to be said by our council president. It's been alleged in court, on record, in Newton versus Baker, by a local attorney, Mr. Andrew McDonald. And let me say something real quick, guys. I have the utmost respect for Mr. McDonald and his wife, Cynthia. When I worked at the courts and I was a bailiff, very good attorneys. I have the most utmost respect for them. This isn't about them. This is about Shane Baker. So I just wanted to clarify that. I hold no ill will against, Mr. McDonald. And then it's also been alleged on 2 different radio stations during interviews that I bribed the county executive. Now, At what point does that start becoming slander? It's a 100% false allegation. Not true. So let's just go back a little bit where this all come from. On July 30th, 2024, at the council meeting, Councilman Joe Holloway accused me of bribing the county executive in response to a public comment by Ms. Monica Brooks, president of the NAACP. Mr. Holloway claimed that I got an MOU signed with the county because I made a $3,500 donation to the county executive. 100% false, inaccurate, not even close. Dates don't line up. None of it even remotely makes close sense to what they're trying to say. Well, my question is, they're throwing out all these allegations about me and trying to make it that I bribed the county executive. But what about Mr. Benson? For those that don't know, Mr. Benson made a donation to Mr. Holloway's campaign. And then he got the legal position with the county. Is he any better than me? Because I can tell you, I didn't get anything from the county executive other than her friendship, which is all we wanted. We appreciate what she's doing for this county. And it's truly getting to the point that I have to make a decision of whether I want to spend the money on an attorney and go after the county for slander. And unfortunately, it's very expensive. I have my attorney who is in Baltimore. He's a great attorney. He's probably one of the best attorneys around, state of Maryland and far out. I mean, he's the cream of the crop, but he's pricey. And that's the decision that I'm going to have to make in the coming days. I don't think it's very hard to figure that out. I'm going to give you the definition of slander, and you be the judge. The action or crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. I think it's pretty hard to deny that. I'm going to wrap this up by saying this. If you've been around the council meetings, if you've paid attention during the election, if you were at court last Friday, and if you watch this video that I'm going to put down at the bottom here from Pack 14 of the council meeting, you will see that the problem here is not Eastern Shore Undercover. The problem is not any Worcester County Sheriff's deputy. The problem is not any Wicomico County deputy. The problem is not any unelected official in Wicomico County. The problem that we have is this council, mainly Mr. Shane Baker, having a compulsive obsession with our county executive, Julie Giordano. I'm going to call it how I see it, and that's not just my personal opinion. That's also from experience. He is absolutely infatuated with her. Period. There is nothing else anybody can say that will change my mind about that. Everything that man does is centered around her. Last night, he complained that she wasn't at the county meetings. He tried to make it out that she was the reason for all this, peace order nonsense. He says that she's never at the county council meetings. Oh, they're not county executive meetings. They're county council meetings. And furthermore, again, when she comes, she gets 3 minutes to speak. So why would she even want to come? That's, it's absolutely insane. It really is. I can show you 10 plus emails where I've brought something to the council's attention. And it had nothing to do with the county executive, Julie Giordano. However, when Mr. Baker responds, he brings in county executive Julie Giordano and complains about something that I have nothing to do with. Like, literally, I don't have anything to do with it at all. I'm a media outlet. You can call me a blogger. You can call me media. You can call me news, whatever you want to call me. Call me John Doe the Citizen for all I care. I really don't care. But what I do is I get a lot of information. And sometimes I have to reach out to the council. And when I do, always, doesn't matter when or where, I'm going to get a response back from Shane Baker that complains about Julie Giordano. It is the most crazy thing I've ever seen. If I didn't know any better, I would think that Councilman Baker was the 16-year-old childish boyfriend of the county executive, and they just broke up, and he can't get over her. That's how bad it is. It is literally the most childish thing I've ever seen. Let it go. Move on. There are so many more important matters right here in Wicomico County that need to be addressed. The roads, when we had the snow, people were complaining left and right about the roads having snow. Well, how about we figure a way to make that so it doesn't happen again? We have the million different things. Civic Center. There are, I can count off 10 things off the top of my head that need to be fixed. But they're not going to get fixed as long as you have a council fighting with the executive. It's truly a shame that they're so hell-bent on causing issues for her. And no matter what it is, it's Julie Giordano's fault. It is crazy. I think a lot of that comes with, part of the job. When you're as busy as she is, and when you're doing as much as she has done for this county, it's only natural you're going to get some hate. It's no different than what we do here on Eastern Shore Undercover. I like to pride myself as being the hardest worker here on the shore, and there's nobody that provides more coverage from a single person, me and my wife, than we do. And what it results is people hating. Haters gonna hate. And when you find success, and what I've learned is when you are successful with what you are doing, there are some people that are just gonna hate you, and there is nothing you can do about it. Several council members feel that way. There is not a question in my mind. No different than our president. People hate him because he's working and doing what he said he was going to do pre-election. There's nothing that he's doing that he didn't say he was going to do before he got elected. And the people voted him into office. And now people hate him because he's doing what he said he would do. Well, guess what? County Executive Julie Giordano did the same thing. She's doing what she said she was going to do. She's working for the people. The people voted. The people voted her in. The people voted against getting rid of her. And now we're still having issues with this circus of a council causing more issues. So here's an honest question, and I'm going to close it off with this. And I want you guys to be honest with me. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Can anyone tell me 5 things that Councilman Shane Baker has done in his first term as a council member? 5 things. Now, same question. What has Julie Giordano done in her first term in office as county executive? I can tell you, man, that's Shane Baker. And the county executive from my desk, I can pile up papers to hear telling you what she has done. The airport, it goes on and on. I've been to at least 5 press events taking photos of her. So where's the hatred coming from? And where does that obsession come from? It's sad. It really is sad. I see people complaining and crying about the government, politics on the national level, and then they complain about Governor Westmore on the state level. But here's the reality check. The important thing in government and politics, it's right here. It's right here on the local level, and that's why we post these podcasts. That's why we post these social media posts, and they're to keep everyone informed. Yes, it's very important for everybody to know what's going on the national level in government. Yes, it's very important to know the state level. But I can assure you, Westmore does not care about John Doe sitting in Salisbury. Donald Trump could care less and doesn't know Jane Doe sitting in Ocean City. It's just not going to happen. The real reality is here on the local level. Pay attention, folks. Pay attention. This upcoming election in 2026 is going to be so important. I can't emphasize that enough. So look, that's all we have for this week on the podcast. Again, next week, we're going to be back with another podcast. We're going to have Keith Newton on the show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and watching. We're about 50 minutes in. And before we go, please give us a like down below and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is greatly appreciated, and I thank you. That's all we have for you this week. I hope you all have a wonderful upcoming weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I really don't have a team. I don't have a horse and a dog in the race, or however they say it. I'm not going to vote for Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not a Chiefs fan, and I really don't like the Eagles, so I'm just going to sit by and watch the commercials. Hope you guys have fun. Thank you.